Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and this is Overwatch Friday. Usually I take a topic within the gaming industry or on the channel and talk about it with some Overwatch in the background, and this will be no exception for this week. But I've got a couple of things to hit before I begin the topic for this week. First of all, a semi-apology to you all. I only got one review done over the last week. I have a reason for that, and that mostly has to do with what happened last Saturday. Last Saturday, I got a little bit of a pain in my left ear. Thought nothing of it, it was a little bit of pain, you know, it happens from time to time. Sunday didn't go so well because that pain became sort of debilitating. I was in bed all day, I was really having trouble focusing, I don't know exactly what had happened, and Monday morning I said enough is enough, I went over to urgent care. Despite not having swum in the last, 2 months, I ended up having acute swimmer's ear. If you don't know what that is, it's basically an ear infection, to the point where it would cause me to hear my heartbeat in my ear. So it was so swollen, I was able to hear my own heartbeat. A little bit concerning. Now you're probably saying to yourself, Dragnix, a little bit of ear pain. What could have stopped you from making a second or third review video? Couple things. One, audio quality is really hard to judge when you can't hear out of half of your head. That makes it a little bit more difficult, and a little bit more difficult to focus as well. Even before I published the Conception 2 video, I was really concerned that, okay, was the music values right? Because it's like I've got a pair of headphones on my head that are sponges, where it's like taking in some of the sound, and I really can't hear a lot of the detail. So that's part of it. Part of it was the fact that because it was in my left ear and I usually sleep on my left side, that made it a little bit difficult to sleep because, well, I was laying on that ear. I would flip over, and now my right ear is starting to feel a little bit pain. Only a tiny bit, not a lot, maybe because I put so much pressure on it while I'm sleeping. The fact of the matter is that it's been a little bit rough over the last couple days. I don't like making excuses for not having content for you guys, but on the flip side, I have to make sure that I bring you guys quality content, and if I can't do that, I need to explain why I wasn't able to give you that quality content. So, without further ado, I got 2 other things to take care of. First of all is the giveaway from last week, and the winner of that giveaway will be shown on the screen now. Again, I thank everybody for entering, the person who won, or anybody who wants to add me. My Steam information is in the description below. Add me on Steam, and I will get you the game, the person who won, as soon as I can. As to the giveaway for this week, let's go with the Banner Saga, just because I decided the Banner Saga for some reason. I was looking through the games that I could give away, and I think that one just popped out. Now, how do you enter? Well, 2 ways. First, you have to be a subscriber to the channel, of course. And secondly, you have to answer this question with a comment in the comment section below. That question is, are you excited for Deus Ex Mankind Divided? I will be covering that game. I know it's a AAA title, and I did get requests to do it. The thing is that Deus Ex Mankind Divided, even though I don't have a lot of history with the franchise, I played Human Revolution, I played the original one, I don't think I beat either of them, and stealth mechanics in games, I'm not necessarily the greatest in terms of them. I'm a little bit too impatient at times. But the fact of the matter is that I am excited to see what they do with the franchise, because I see a lot of good signs from the material that they were developing and how they reacted to things. The delay that they gave in terms of that game made sense to me. But that's not the topic for the video today. The topic is about OpenCritic. For those who don't know, OpenCritic is an alternative to Metacritic that's focused on games, and I've always enjoyed what they've done in terms of the coverage that they provide. So it's basically, they are an aggregate of critics, they give you scores and things like that, but they add a feature set that Metacritic doesn't have. For example, if you don't like a certain critic and don't agree with them, you can put their score aside and say, I don't trust that critic when it's making its overall score calculation for you. It also does include non-scored reviews, people like ACG and Total Biscuit. Well, what does that have to do with me? I surely don't have the size to be part of OpenCritic. Well, not necessarily in that way in terms of an established brand like IGN and GameSpot, but that's where their new program comes in. One of the main issues as a smaller reviewer is getting eyes on your channel and getting eyes on the content that you create. Quality doesn't necessarily mean anything at times. The fact is that you can make a great review, and I've seen hundreds of reviews that don't even get 1,000 views because you don't have it in the right places in terms of Reddit, in terms of Metacritic. And if you try to add it to those locations, it's not going to go well. In Reddit's case, if you're not part of the participation rule, which is always weird because of the fact that, you know, some days it applies, sometimes it applies in different ways. And with Metacritic, even if you do this wonderfully detailed review, written review, and you possibly link the video in terms of it's everything that I said in this review, but it's in video form for those who have it, you'll get banned from their service. That's not by personal experience, by the way. Okay, yes it is. I did that with Rocket League. There's nothing in their rules that say that you can't link to a video, but lo and behold, I can't post reviews on Metacritic because of that. In the user review section, not in the actual critic section, though. But luckily, OpenCritic is looking at this differently. Basically, they're saying, look, how do we live up to the name of OpenCritic? Open being it's open to everyone. Well, the obvious solution they said was, okay, it would be user reviews, but they looked at that and said, hey, guess what? That presents its own challenges, in particular the quality problem. Look, if you go and look at Steam reviews, there are some good Steam reviews out there. I like to think that mine are some of them. The fact is that I provide a huge list of pros and cons, a summary, and of course the video in which that I make in terms of the YouTube channel. That is a rarity compared to others, which will be maybe 1 or 2 line memes. And most of the time it doesn't actually tell you anything about the product. It may be used to, you know, assert that this product is the best thing ever, or self-justify your purchase, or say, hey, this is the horrible product, so that somebody actually does something to fix a bug or something that you find to be not offensive, but, you know, core to your experience. But what OpenCritic did was basically put out some feelers and say, hey, look, if you're a smaller site or you're a smaller YouTuber, we're looking for people to be part of this program. And so I applied and they accepted it. So you've probably seen me talk about a secret project or a couple secret projects. This was one of them. Basically what I had to do was I had to add a bunch of metadata for the reviews over at a dashboard of OpenCritic. So basically I had to put in the title, the scoring system that I used, whether or not I use the scoring system. Obviously for my full reviews I do. For my other ones I could choose things like, okay, recommended versus not recommended, things like the ACG scale, so on and so forth. But the thing is that that's a lot of information to enter. I think I have about 100 reviews within OpenCritic right now. I've gone back over the last year and added things. I haven't gone any further than that. There was a certain point of quality that I wanted to meet in terms of those reviews. I may add reviews that I go back and look at and be like maybe my Bayonetta 2 review and say, okay, that's up to snuff. But that's around the time where I felt like my quality jumped from, okay, I was giving good information to I was giving good information and presenting it well as having some production value to it. So I've been working on that for a while, and lo and behold, I hope this gives some more attention to the channel. I just want to go on record and say thank you to OpenCritic. They didn't have to do this in terms of the small channels. There have been sites like TechRaptor and Niche Gamer who tried to get on the site and weren't able to at the time because of, you know, maybe they didn't have the Alexia results and things like that. And eventually they got on once they got the hits and things like that. But I like the fact that they're willing to take chances on, you know, they're willing to look at the quality of content with this creators program and say, hey, look, these guys are making some, you know, great content in terms of these reviews. We want to highlight them in terms of our the channels. We want to be able to give this information to other users so they can use it. And hopefully that has benefits on both sides. You notice that in the last several reviews that I've done, I've mentioned OpenCritic, and that's one of my ways of saying, hey, look, I do think they are providing a reasonable service to you guys. I think that they are providing something that you guys can use because, again, I've always said, don't always just take my opinion. Use other opinions of other reviewers because there's something I could miss. There's something, a unique angle or experience that that person had that I didn't. And to have all that information in one place is a good thing because you can pick and choose, especially with the customization option. I cannot say enough how much I like that. I can turn Arthur Guy's reviews, you know, Polygon reviews off because I don't think they have a good template for reviews on that site. And thus, I can sit there and say, okay, I'm going to ignore all Arthur Guy's reviews because guess what? I don't want to say he's a fraud or a hack or anything like that. That would be bad on my part, but I just don't agree with his style. And again, I encourage you to go and take a look at the creators program if you are a smaller YouTuber who focuses on reviews and say, hey, look, maybe I should apply to this, and maybe I can put more attention and detail into these things, and maybe I can get into the creators program too. Again, that's a lot of information that could be there over time, but the thing is that it could have huge benefits for your channel. Hopefully it does for this one. I'm not expecting much, but maybe one review does shoot you up to the top. It only takes one video at times to get you over that sort of hump at that times to get the attention. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's a Reddit post, maybe it's just something going viral for some odd reason. It doesn't really happen in the reviewer world because guess what? It's not memes or anything like that. But hey, it could happen. Anyway, that's it for this week. I apologize for the lack of content again. Hopefully this ear thing is done by the end of Friday so I can really focus on the next quality of content. I am sort of in a weird place because next week I don't have a lot scheduled, mostly because I've got a lot of games that are, sort of there, sort of not, in terms of am I going to cover this? Am I not going to cover this next week? Once things get past next week, I have a better schedule in terms of what I plan to cover. Things like Hatsune Miku Diva X. But next week, I don't know. Something about next week is weird. But you will get quality content regardless of what it is. Anyway, I will see you guys later, and once again, I thank you for watching. Thanks for watching. Like the video, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you want more content like this. In the description below, you'll find the Steam review accompanying this vid, along with social media that you can follow me on, Twitter, Google+, and Facebook groups. And if you want to support the channel, click that Patreon on the left of the screen. And remember, keep on gaming.